Hello, welcome to You Haven't Blanked That. I'm Forrest.
And this is Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Forrest.
So this week, it's Guilty Pleasures Week.
Guilty
Month.
pleasures.
And for my guilty pleasure, I chose riding in cars with boys. Jimmy, do you have a synopsis of this movie?
This, the fresh, funny, touching, and true story of writer Beverly D'Onofrio, who ages from 15 to 35 in the role, reveals her coming of age in the late 1960s and her whole life colored by an event that happened when she was 15, and the event spanned more than 2 decades. As a young heroine, experiencing often humorous, sometimes irrelevant, but certainly a unique personal journey to make something meaningful of her life. Several things, Forrest. several things.
Go ahead.
Overall, I liked it.
Okay.
Also, it's just
There are flaws with this movie.
there are flaws with this film, but with
I realized watching
like
it though.
like watching this and
Okay,
then
so
picturing you watching this,
let
I'm
me-
like, do you see yourself as that female lead?
Oh, God damn it, no.
Are you the
let me-
struggling?
Let me explain. So, and I realized watching it, like having to watch it from the beginning, I came at the same spot every time, which is when they're at, like, around the time of them being at that party. It was on
Okay,
TV
yeah.
all the time, and I don't know how.
Yes, and also at that party too, Tommy, FYI, Edward's father is in the role.
Sure, bud.
Do you know from Twilight?
I'm aware.
He's the guy with the pimples.
No, I
He's
got
like,
it, and then he
"Look,
comes
I
back
fuck-
and he's
I fucking like you, and then but he can't say it, and she's like, "Shut up for a second." But go ahead, continue. You always watch it at the party.
Yeah, so I watch it at the. I always come in at that part, like at the party, right? And like around that time, like around that whole part, it was on HBO a lot. Now here's how much it was on HBO in 2008, 2009. I thought that movie came out in 2008, 2009. And Lisa goes, no, it came out in 2001.
Oh wow!
Because she was all like, oh, my mom and I like that movie. Like, my mom bought that movie. And I'm all like, why the fuck weren't you watching it when we were dating? Like, if you guys watched like that movie so much and watched it all the time.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck weren't you watching it at the beginning of us dating? Like,
Yeah.
I never saw it on TV.
Yeah.
So I watched it. Now, I have not watched this movie in 15 years because I was like, oh, well, Lisa's going to think I'm some kind of fucking loser.
Really, for this film, it's not bad. Like I can see the hallmarks of this film that I like would hit for you, and it's the 1950s or the 1960s.
Yeah.
And then it's also a writer who's struggling to like get her stuff going.
Yeah.
And then it's also Steve or what's his name?
James Woods.
James Woods is fantastic.
Dude,
and Steve Zahn is like...
Steve Zahn was it.
And
Steve Zahn was 100% the reason why I watched it,
and
too.
he was so good and so lovable and then so kind of dorky, and you're just like, yeah, dude, like, this is fantastic. And you're like, yeah, like, this is...
But, yeah, no, Steve Zahn was the reason why I was like... Because I was flipping through, and I saw Steve Zahn.
Yeah.
And I know what... Okay, the first time I saw it is when he says, oh... when she tells him she's pregnant.
Oh, okay.
That's where I came in at. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch a Steve Zahn movie. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, what the fuck is this? Like, it's...
Yeah.
All right. And then I'm like, oh, James Woods is in this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, hey.
So, watching it now, so do you relate more with your daughter with this film?
Not really. Surprisingly, not.
Okay.
This time around, it was a weird watch. That Christmas Story Christmas movie fucking gets me at the end.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like 100% gets me at the end.
Yeah.
This one didn't, and this one didn't like it didn't even get me like the first time around watching it. Lisa was like I think half surprised I liked this movie because I haven't watched it. I like legit since I started dating since I've been with Lisa.
Yeah.
Haven't watched it. Maybe once like when we weren't by each other for like at the beginning.
Yeah, when she went to the grocery store, he had to get your cry out.
Get my cry out. No, I didn't even cry. I just thought it was a good movie. There's some funny that whole part at the wedding with James Woods when they're singing like the lady is a tramp and James was like hey yeah
but like the film has like these like beautiful moments about father and daughter scenes in the beginning.
But you know what it was in this one I was just like I can't be that dad. Okay. If anything if I got anything from it this time around it's like no I can't be that dad like where he's like. She's knocked up and like he's just a piece of shit to her.
But at the same time though, it's like, yeah, dude, like well like as for the father in the beginning of the film, James Wood, like when he's sitting with his daughter and like looking at the Christmas lights and then like
all that part at the beginning where she's like, I want this bra so my tits
she's like
out.
Well she's like I'm gonna buy you that house when I get rich and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about like, like kids do, like, it's like, oh like I'm just gonna be honest and tell you whatever. It's like, yeah, she doesn't have big boobs, like I was pushing her fat and makes sure she has big boobs and Dad, I want a bra and then it's just like like I mean like that's her dad's uncomfortability.
I bet you it's hit me up in like 2 years and we'll see where we're at.
Okay. Cause like cause
in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
I bet you it's one of those. It's one of those like get me there in about 2 or 3 years and we'll see.
Then I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then like I was talking to a friend of mine how I was gonna watch this film, and we both got confused with a different movie.
Okay.
There's another movie where a girl dresses like a boy, and then
just one of the guys.
Is it no? Great movie. But she dresses like one of the guys, and they go to the bar, and then they rape her on a ping pong or a
Mulan.
Oh my god!
No.
And they rape her on a.
Okay, so you're thinking of that Jodie Foster movie, The Accused.
Is that what it is?
That's that's Jodie.
Maybe that's what it was.
That's The Accused.
Yeah. So I was like,
I'm sorry. How? I probably should let you finish, but how are we drawing a line? How did either of you draw a line from this movie or confuse this movie with The Accused?
Well, because like I don't know, like maybe I just thought like it's a girl that dresses like a boy, and then like she's running around with all the guys. And then, like, one of the guys find out she's a girl, and then they.
Are you talking about Boys Don't Cry?
Boys Don't Cry. That's what I was thinking.
Is it Boys Don't Cry? Well, that's one of them, but I think
that's
I think you guys are confusing 3 different movies. 2 of which, like I see the similarity in 2 of these, but one of these things is not like the other. So we're like, and it's the movie we watched that was directed by Penny Marshall, by the way, who would never make the rape movie.
Yeah. So I was like. I'm like, is there a rape? I'm like, and they're like, yeah, like she's like a guy, and they're like, they're always like she's part of the guys, and like, I'm like, yeah, that seems about right. So you get to the point where like, she's in love and like a writer, and like it's funny too because seeing her like write that love letter to Skylar, so she gave it to him, and then like she's like okay, and then her friend, Edward's father from Twilight is like. You're many things, but you're not a coward. Go over there and like tell him. She's like, yeah, and she like pulls out her note and she walks up to him and she gives him the love letter and he reads it in front of the group and talks about like like her heaving breasts and her shaking legs.
He's not Bella's dad. He's Edward's dad.
Edward's dad.
Oh, they said Bella's. My bad. Go ahead.
And then so like and then she's like and then like Steve Zahn. She goes upstairs and Steve Zahn's scene in the bathroom is fantastic. Or he's in the bathroom and just kind of just hanging out because he's not invited to the party. And then he finds the bidet and he just drinks out of it.
Yeah.
And then Drew Barrymore comes rushing in because she's embarrassed. And then she's like, Steve's on the cutest meet cute I've seen is where like she's like asking for a cigarette. And then he's trying to light it, but she's like crying. So she blows out the lighter. He lights it like 4 or 5 times for her. And then she's like, and then when he tells him like who it was that like, that bullied her. And he goes like, I'll go teach him a lesson. He goes up to the big football guy and
punches him in the
punch
jaw.
me right here, punch me right here. And then he just swings back and he ducks his head, knocks him in the back of the head. You even see Steve Zahn going, whoa, because he was dizzy. And then he run out. Like, that was all great. And then, like, but I was confused. Because I didn't know it was jumping through time. Like
It was going back and forth.
yeah, because then it's that Jason, and then like Drew Barrymore, she's an adult because he's running late, and then like he's making a phone call, and then like somebody is like, "Who's that in the car? Is that your girlfriend?" He goes, "No, that's my mother." She goes, "She's too young to be your mother," and then it cuts back to Drew, and like, I'm like, oh, okay, I get what's going on. But yeah, like because she had him when she was like 15, 15, 16, and then like the marriage, like it was like it's seeing it was very nostalgic for me, just because like the way that the families kind of treated each other, the weddings, the rushed weddings.
Yeah,
it was very much like, oh, like I've seen that a bunch of times.
I thought that was done well. I mean,
no, I thought it was done super well.
Yeah.
And then my only issue with the whole film was like, it's endearing because like you see like the mother's point of view so much to the point where you're like, yeah, as a kid, like, dude, I'd be fucking irritated and pissed with her. But like the amount of, she's a child raising another child, trying to find herself and find her voice, and it's taken away from her at every single turn. And then you get Steve Zahn, who's like in love with her, but the drug is so much more prevalent in his life than she is.
Prevalent. Wow.
In his life than anything else. And then it's just one of those where it's like, even when like when Steve was talking about like, hey, like, I got an idea, I'll just take a little bit of heroin and just to even it out like I am right now, it'll be super cool.
That's the Nick Cave. That's what Nick Cave does.
Yeah.
That's what Nick Cave does. Yeah. Nick Cave does a little dabble, do ya?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it's.
You think Nick Cave stopped doing heroin?
I thought he did, but
no.
Yeah, but like,
I think I've heard that Nick Cave does like just the right, like Ray, like
Ray tried to do,
but I think it's one of those like he'd been through it all. Like Nick Cave's got that weird like stoic like. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna fucking do something, and like he seems like that guy that's like yeah, I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think he's one of those people who can do that, like who can knows not to do. He probably OD'd a time or two and goes, all right, well I guess we don't do that many.
Yeah, but like with this,
I guess we don't do that many heroines.
But I was thinking like it's like Drew Barrymore tried her best not to ruin that kid's life. You know what I mean? But the thing though, it's like it was bound to happen. Especially especially with music. Music's one of those where it's like I remember feelings and emotions and places with music. And then now she asked him on his dad's heroin detox, like, hey, what's your favorite song? Let's play it to distract him. But now that song's tainted. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like whatever she did, and then like everything was just for his best. And then but like even when she was like, fuck, I want to hang out with my best friend and just kind of have a chill afternoon, and like she takes those like pills, and then her fucking son almost drowns, and she's like, fuck, I'm sorry, I'll be more attentive and more responsible. And then so she's like, I'm gonna be more responsible. And then she's like, see what responsible means? And the kid's like, no. He lets it go. And the kid drowns again. Like this is a very like a true 16 and pregnant type of a reality moment. And it's like I feel like this is a book that people should read. Like in high school.
Are you gonna try to find the book?
Oh yeah, people should read this in high school because I feel like it's a really good.
Or did you find the book?
No, I'm going to read the book now. But I feel like this is a book people should read in high school because obviously, like, times change and, like, you should know, like, what is going to happen, especially when all these, like, kids are having kids.
Yeah.
But, no, dude, it's a tragic story. Like, it sucks. And the only thing that bums me out about everything is just, like, you're seeing, like, a girl. You're just seeing a girl who has an expectation of her life and everything's not meeting her expectations, and she thinks it's ruining everything about her, that she's drowning in her own like sorrow. But it's like she takes no precedence of like taking a step back and just being happy in the moment.
I also feel like you are as mature. You will. Your peak maturity is when the big thing happens to you, whatever that big thing is.
Okay.
So, like, she acts like a fucking teenage girl because the big thing happened to her when she was fucking 15 years old.
But I know a lot of people's parents that that act the same way, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And when did their big thing happen to
Yeah,
them?
yeah,
When does your big thing happen?
Yeah.
That's how you will act. That'll dictate the majority of how you will be. You know what I mean? At that time.
yeah. That's
So
true.
if you have nothing big that happened to you until your 20s or 30s, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's, you know, not, I mean, it's got to be significant death, somebody you're close to, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
So I act like a 5-year-old. Is what you're telling me?
All the fuck.
But yeah, no, I get that completely, because like it's one of those where it's like everything she does, I don't like how she's doing it, but she's doing it for the right reasons. But her heart's never in it.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like, it's weird to see somebody not really in the role of a mother, because like you see it everywhere where everyone has like a loving mother, or like everybody has like a goofy mother, or just a whatever, or just occasionally you'll see the movies where there's just a mean mother, but like there's just like to see like the beginnings of it, you know what I mean? And so like this one was just, it was interesting because like it's like, and then like what I really loved about this movie was the ending, where
James Woods picks her up.
where yeah, and then like so no oh yeah, that too, but like the part where right before that, where like
Where she goes to see him,
where she goes to see
Ray.
Steve Zahn,
Yeah.
Ray, and then so she's like talking about him, and it's like, hey, we want $100 million or $100,000, and it's like, fuck off, and then Steve's like, hey, look, I signed the papers, like,
Yeah.
like, it is what it is, because like, I mean, for what? He fucked up her life. He fucked up her life and his life.
But the other thing about that, though, I was just like, then you just don't put his name in there, or you change his name.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna figure out who it is. They say her husband.
In 1980s, in 1980 fucking 3, we'll say.
Yeah, you could go back in the courthouse and you could pull those records.
Yeah, but this isn't. But nobody gave a shit in the 80s like they give a shit now.
but regardless,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
No one, I'm sure there were people who were like, I gotta find out who the fuck this is.
Yeah.
But it took way longer than it did now.
Yeah.
It's not now where you can just go on.
But I mean, it's how easy it is to be like, hey, just have him sign off on it and we're fine for the publishing. Like, yeah, especially for a small publisher, they don't want to be sued later on. So, whatever. But like when they go there and he's like talking to him and like he's just this fucking loser, you know what I mean? And then it's just like, okay, cool. Like my mom's fucking crazy who doesn't really care about me and who's selfish, and then you got my dad who's a fucking druggy loser, who's like, you know, like fuck, great. This is my family tree, you know what I mean? And then he like slips through the pockets like, hey, like, I like. He doesn't even say it, but he shows it with his actions that like he loves her and like he he's fucked up. So here's the paperwork, whatever. Just have her be happy because that's all he wanted for her in the beginning.
Yeah.
He goes, I just want her to be happy. Here's the paperwork. We're done. So give me this awkward hug and I'll put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those. He goes like, and then he tells his sons like, hey, like all you have to do about like is just tell them you need them. They'll like and they'll go out of the way to help you, but you have to say I need your help. And then like he's like, okay, whatever. And then he finally has that meltdown with his mom, saying like, hey, like what the fuck? Like, you don't care about me. Like I'm in love with this girl.
Yeah.
And then this is all this stuff, and like you don't care. And then she's like, and she's bitterly like, how dare you? Like I don't want nothing to do with this. And then his last words were like, I need your help. And she goes, oh my, whatever you need. And it was one of those where it was like,
yeah,
that's all it was. You just need to ask for help, and then like that motherly will kick in, and then like, but then it's that. A fantastic scene at the end with James Wood and Drew Barrymore where they're riding back home because she needs a ride back home, and the mom's very nice saying like, no, you need to leave now because if you wait till tomorrow you'll never fucking go, so just go now.
Yeah, just go.
And then her dad picks her up and they have that father-daughter moment. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's dope. And then like you have that shitty moment too in the film where Jason, her son, is outside playing and he's so bitter and just irritated with their mom, and then like they have that
that he
argument,
rats her out.
where they have that argument. It's like I'm the child. I'm supposed to have fun, and like I'm a child too. It's like but they're two children yelling at each other, so they have more of a sibling relationship than they do like
a mother-daughter, mother-son.
Yeah, and it's like that's you don't see that often. You know what I mean? And so it's really nice to see that, and then then you get the son writing out the the mom because Lizard came over. And
Side note: do you know who? Did you figure out who Lizard was?
Lizard. I thought he looked like a weirdly
Lizard,
aged Scott Conn.
No, Lizard is Josh Baskin as a child from Big.
Oh, really?
Same guy.
Okay. I have a picture of him with his curly hair and his like bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Okay. But yeah, like, and then when Lizard comes in and like been by her for years to like
that was her last movie. I don't know if she knew it was her last movie because if you notice, the nurse that brings the baby in and Lorraine Bracco and James Woods, the nurse was Betty Spaghetti from fucking League of Her Own.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice, but that scene was great too, where she gave birth. It's like, he's like, oh, here's your son. She goes, oh, no, I had a girl. It's like, no, you had a son. Don't you remember? It's like, no, I had a girl. Like, being my best friend, or having kids, or having a girl.
Yeah.
And then just that, like, it was sad. It was a sad film. Like, just like, nothing was happy about it. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, like, I was waiting for, like, the rape, and I was also
and then I was waiting for the rape that never. And then I was waiting for the rape that never got here.
And then I was waiting for like this like sweet moment, and I'm like, there was no sweet moments. It was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, and then I liked it at the end when there wasn't a sweet moment, but that last moment with her mom, with her dad,
yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
The other thing I thought was funny was the whole Brittany when she's like, I'm gonna go and practice.
Oh, best part.
With Brittany Murphy doing the Lorraine Bracco.
Yeah,
that was like spot on.
I'll be your mother, and you be you. Mom, I'm pregnant. I raised a whore in the middle of public. Oh man, so good, and she was so good too. She was so good in this role.
Yeah.
And then the best friends, their friendship, I believed it 100%. I thought that was flawless.
Yeah, it worked well.
Their friendship, like I think that's a real friendship, and they did fantastic. They were like sisters.
It was a friendship.
Were they?
I don't know.
Oh, I think they were because like they were so good with each other. But it was weird because you get certain spots where like Drew Barrymore's acting just fell flat. And you're just saying the lines, and like I don't believe it, but like I was like, okay, let's move past it. But there was other parts where Drew Barrymore was fantastic. So it's like, I don't think she could be the hurt serious that she tried to, but everything else in the film she did fantastic. And Steve Zahn, like his portrayal, I think he was fantastic when he was a teenager. When he was the older guy, I just felt like he was just Steve Zahn in makeup, and I was like, okay, but like,
yeah, but I liked it. That guy's fucking brain dead at that point.
Yeah.
So what the fuck else is he supposed to do? I mean, he you know what I mean. He was supposed to be very toned. He was fucking brain dead. From all the heroin.
Yeah. So like, it was one of those where it's
heroin.
Like, yeah. So I thought it was great. I thought it was super nice, and then but yeah, Jason's like the kid actor was pretty decent for a kid actor.
3.
Dude, yeah.
There's 3 different kids. There's 2 that were brothers. The 2 younger ones were brothers.
Oh,
2 of them were brothers, and then one of them is the kid from the Perks of Being a Wallflower. I read something interesting that it made me realize that I wonder how it would have changed this movie. So, James Woods was offered a role. Was offered Mr. White for Reservoir Dogs.
Ooh.
But he wouldn't. His agent rejected the script because they wouldn't show it to the actor.
Oh.
And James Woods found out about that and fired that agent.
Yeah. Some of these agents, they're just weird. They have this idea of like what you want, like, but the actor should get all the scripts.
Yeah.
Anyways, and if they want to read one, cool. But as an agent, you should be looking for
anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, at that point, you're still like, but that's top of his game, fucking James Woods. I like James Woods.
Every time I hear James Woods, I think of Family Guy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, I think I don't think he gets hired anymore because he wanted to voice his opinions, which is, you're allowed to voice your opinions.
As an actor, I don't care about your political opinions. I don't. I just don't. Like, either you're paid to say whatever you want to say, or you're just you're just a whack job.
He does all the voice stuff still though.
Yeah.
Like if you play Kingdom Hearts 3, he's still the voice in Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm sure when Kingdom Hearts 4 gets here, he'll be the voice of Hades that also.
Yeah.
The only one, speaking of Hades, they're doing a live action Hercules.
Oh, I'm okay with that.
I would have been okay with it when they were talking about who should have been who originally they wanted to be Hades, or they were trying to get to be Hades.
Who's that?
So in the movie, I've heard they cast Loki.
They had somebody else play Hades, and they filmed their entire dialogue, and they switched it with James Woods.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, I forget who the actor was.
But so they've done all the casting on it, and Loki is going to be Hades.
Okay.
It was this close, I heard, to being Bruce Campbell.
Fuck.
Do you know how great that would have been?
That would have been so good.
Because he's not bankable, probably.
That's
sadly.
terrible. That sucks.
Because he would have been perfect.
He would have been so
role.
good. He would have been so good. Oh, that's a bummer. But yeah, like my favorite song out of Hercules.
Is it the Hades song?
No, it's the Meg song.
Okay, well, I've not seen Hercules.
You've never seen Hercules?
No.
It's on Disney Plus.
Oh,
You can watch it right now.
Is it on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Really?
It's a good movie.
Everybody tells me that.
I saw it in the theaters. I was like really excited because like everybody was expecting it to be this like perfect film about like better than Aladdin, better than this.
I didn't expect it to be perfect. I was just like,
because I got a my sister got she was winning a bunch of like tickets on the radios for a while, and so we saw Tuxedo like maybe a month before the movie came out, and so we got to see Jackie Chan and what's her face. I can't remember her name.
Jennifer with huge tits.
Yeah. So we got to see them, like, this is so cool. And then we saw, and then like we got tickets to see Hercules a month beforehand, and like the hype was so high. And then when we left, people were just like, oh, it wasn't as good as Aladdin. I'm like, oh, dude, it's a Hercules film. Like I was happy.
It's like no one's gonna.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like
unless you guys read this.
So Meg's love song, it's because
because it's all kind of like. It's all kind of like gospel-y music.
Gospel-y,
right?
but
gospel-y like Motown-y type stuff, right?
But Meg's music is more doo-wop, and that's why I like it.
That works with the
yeah. So like I liked it. No, like, but it even the main song is very like, it's really
and it's the same people writing the music, right?
I hope so.
From Aladdin to.
Oh yeah. Same. Not the exact same people, but like yeah.
But Tim Rice or whatever the fuck his name was in the music for that, right? Yeah. That's so when he was on that. Do you know the whole thing about The Emperor's New Clothes?
No.
About how it was supposed to be a different movie and Sting was going to do all the music for it.
Oh, are you talking about Emperor's New Groove?
Emperor's New Groove or whatever.
Yeah.
It was going to be a different movie.
Yeah, it was going to be
like Empire of the Sun or something like that.
And then like they had to rewrite it a bunch of different times, which I didn't know that Disney did like these giant rewrites. Like these productions go like 10 years before they
have
actually...
Have you ever read the Pixar book?
No.
Find the book about Pixar by Ed Catmull, who one of the people who started Pixar.
Yeah.
And it talks about how they go through... There's a lot of stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And that's just... You know what I mean? Like, everybody has their thing. Mm-hmm. But they will screen, like, the animatics for a movie. And then they will go back and do... They go through, like... 15 to 20 drafts of a fucking movie.
Yeah. Like, okay, going back to riding in cars with boys.
Uh-huh.
There was no lead up to Ray doing heroin, right? It was just like...
I bet you it's subtle. Because right before he goes to get cigarettes, you remember he leaves? They're like, oh, we're going to go to California. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
And that's when he goes to James Woods. You can see his makeup. He's jaundiced.
Oh.
So I bet you if you look at his makeup, I bet you from whatever they say it started.
Yeah.
I bet you if you watch that movie again, I bet you, and I didn't.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I bet you it's.
You can see the stages.
You can see it, but you can see the stages in his makeup. I wouldn't be surprised.
So yesterday I got called.
But also they keep having him like. Not show up to work and
skipping
fucking
things.
up and skipping things. Yeah.
So yesterday I got a call from one of my friends who asked me to go for a drug run with him, and I said, "Oh, sure, because this guy is clean cut, doesn't do any drugs. The only alcohol he'll drink are
Was it vanilla?
fruity martinis
And vanilla.
and beer. And then, but like he was talking about like he wanted to go like pick up drugs. I'm like, what? And I said, give me 20 minutes. I'll pick you up and we'll figure this out together. So I'm excited because I'm like, what are we gonna do? What kind of mischief are we gonna get into? And so I get to his house and he's like, and then he's, because he didn't want to talk on the phone or type it because he didn't want to have a trace. So I was like, what kind of drugs are you after, bud? And so like I get over there and he tells me, he's like, hey, I want to do microdosing. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna do microdosing. I'm like, okay, mushrooms. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, easy. I'm like, easy peasy, but they sell them everywhere. It was like, and I said, because years ago I was with one of my friends and she wanted to pick up like vapes or like the weed pens, and so we went to this, and like there was a store like right a block away from me that was like a pop up. It was open for like maybe 2 weeks before they got shut down. But when I went in there to pick up like the stuff for her, it's like, have you ever been to like a dispensary?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know how you go through the door and then the shop's in the back?
Then you sign your shit and then you go to the other shop.
Yeah. So like I went in there, I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm in the back. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm looking around trying to like wait for the girl to like attend me so I could buy those stem things. And then so I'm thinking that there's a jar and it's like it's a huge fucking jar, but there's these giant mushrooms and they're white and they're purple and they're just like, but they're massive. And I'm like, what the and I'm like, and I'm looking around. I'm like, what? And the girl's like, hey, how can I help you? I'm like, you need to hide your mushrooms, lady. And she's like, no, we can sell them. They're legal. I'm like, they're legal? Like, what the fuck? Like, that blew my mind that mushrooms are so like...
They use them for anxiety or depression or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's a thing.
Yeah, I had no idea. And so I was like, that's crazy. So like, I told my buddy, he's like, oh no, they sell them. And I'm like, for sure. So he went to one spot and then he forgot his ID. So I'm like,
so wait,
I'm like,
let me get drugs, but he was going to a dispensary.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay.
Dispensary like this.
No, for sure. So we went into this. We went to this dispensary, and he didn't have his ID. I'm like, "There's a razzle dazzle. Do this. We'll get you back there. Don't worry about it." And then so we walked in there, and then like I'm like talking to them without talking to them about like blah 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 IDs, and she's like, yeah, and I'm just kind of like shuffling directions of speech and whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then I was like, and I said,
goddamn prestige.
And I was like, I know, right? And I was like, hey, before we go back there and everything, like do all this stuff, do you have shrooms? And she goes, no, those are illegal. And I'm like, okay. And she goes, those are illegal. They're illegal to sell, but they're legal to use. And I'm like, this place sounds kind of shady. It's like we got up and we left, and then like so there's somebody sent me 2 flyers. I was like, so I called certain people. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for this. Where do I go? And they're like, oh, cool. So I got 2 different flyers. One where it's like it's top notch, cheap, but I need to show a certain flyer to get into the door, and like because they change the flyers every week, and that's your pass. Yeah. That's your pass to get in. So I said, okay, cool. It's like, but they're open from this time to this time.
And we're at this time.
And then I was like, okay. And then I said, and then like my buddy's like, why is that such a weird time? I'm like, because that's the time where the day shift of the police and the night shift merge, and they have to go back to the station to like drop off the units and get new units to come back out. So the store's open between this magic hour. So there's not that many cops out, so nobody's going to be ready to bust on the shop. And my buddy's like, that's super shady. I'm like, if you want cheap drugs, sir, this is how you do it. And then so we ended up to a different spot. We got, and then like he bought his shrooms. And then we're like, okay, cool. And then he was all excited. And then he was trying to figure out how to crumble it up and do his microdosing. I'm like, that's all you, like, whatever. But like, it's one of those where it's like, it's so easy. It's so easy to like acquire like weed or mushrooms now to the point where it's like, oh, that's insane. And then like now you see like in Writing Cards with Boys where like she was like they were begging her to use her oven to try out.
Yeah.
But do you know that smell is gonna radiate through the entire block? That's the other
thing. It was like you're gonna tell me they didn't smell it?
Everybody in that block would have smelled it. Fucking James Wood would have smelled it from a block away, let alone outside the fucking front door. Like,
no, I know. And then like his partner. Oh, kids say the darndest things. Officer James Woods.
Yeah. Well, it's because one, it's because like he knows it's his daughter, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming the cops like we're gonna look the other way for this.
No, I got that, but it was
very
just
much
like
yeah.
it was just like oh, kids say the darndest things, officer.
Yeah. Like okay, but but that actually made me like James Wood way more, because like it's one of those where it's like regardless if you're my daughter or whatever, the law's the law. You know what I mean? Because he was a stern father from the beginning. And he's like still a stern man at the end. If he would have changed for his daughter and like kind of like whatever,
So partway through you would.
Yeah, I would have like whatever. But then like I thought it was a little heartbreaking that like she gave up her friend or her friend had to give up each other.
Yeah.
That sucked, but yeah. No, overall, I thought it was good. But we asked a question.
Yes, we do. Who would Corey Feldman play?
Yeah, easy.
Little Corey Feldman would be the kid.
Oh yes, 100%. But adult Corey,
don't.
It's easy for me.
Are you saying Wizard?
100%. Right? You don't see him as that?
No, I do.
Because then he comes in at the end, and you think he's going to be creepy trying to hit on her, but he just asks to use her oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
You watching Skeleton Crew? Oh, Don't Wear Batman. I'm sorry.
No, that was it. Skeleton Crew. I watched a couple episodes. It's okay. I like the introduction of the aliens.
Yeah.
Like the little werewolf guy. In the beginning, the pirate, when like he grabbed Jude Law and told him to fuck off.
Yeah.
But like seeing a suburban like Star Wars thing, I'm like, okay, cool. But like the thing is, like, it's a children's story. It's a children's show, and so like, I'm fine with it.
Fucking children's story.
No, it's not. Forrest.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
One is political upheaval, a children's story, Forrest.
In Star Wars.
Okay.
in the Star Wars trilogy.
Okay.
That we watched as a child. That everybody watched from like 1977 on, that everybody watched as a child.
The Holy Trilogy was not anything to do with politics. It was all about balance and the Force. And then
I'm sorry, what?
It wasn't about politics.
It wasn't? So there was no analogy for Vietnam or anything?
No.
In the first one? No, nothing?
Nothing at all.
Why are you smiling? You just figured that out.
It all makes sense now.
like you smile like, oh... Like, you didn't have to play the whole movie over in your head. Like, you had to play it like halfway through, and you're like, oh, I guess.
But no, like it had.
You're gonna tell me those hippie USC kids didn't make anything that was analogous?
None.
None.
And then like the prequels, that's all politics and trade, because everybody loves, children love political play and trade blockades like no other.
Dude, you weren't all like, hey.
But yeah, like and then the last three that came out were I wouldn't say they're better. They're better than the prequels. Because
I enjoyed them more
because they didn't have the heaviness of like political upheaval.
But there's also political imagery in the new ones too.
I don't see any of it.
You're not fucking stupid.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking of what the planet being destroyed, like Fern Gully.
All the.
When was the last time we watched Fern Gully?
Last time I watched Fern Gully. I'm trying to think if the kids should try to show it to the kids or something at one point. But
they might be too old for Fern Gully now.
Oh, they probably are.
Yeah.
They're never too old for Tim Curry, though.
That's true.
My children, unfortunately, didn't. Tim Curry wasn't the star he was.
Oh, I watched Little Shop of Horrors on Christmas Eve.
The 80s one or the original?
The 80s.
Because with you, it could have been either one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was the 80s one, and then I saw Rocky Horror Picture Show because I figured that's the perfect Christmas movie, anyways.
Did you just watch it alone?
Yeah, I was going through movies.
I watched the Pixar Dream Productions.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Dream Productions was pretty much, it was like
Dream.
So you know how you go to that point where they're going through everything, and then like they run into like the people who are making the movie. They're making the dreams. And Inside Out.
Oh yeah.
That's what this movie was. The show was. It's like a 4-episode show, and they just did making the movies and like how this director's like kind of out of touch, and how she's trying to like not be out of touch.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was good.
Ooh, I read a book.
What did you read?
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, you told me. Did you finish it already?
I did finish it already. I still need to finish Jurassic Park. I put it down.
Okay. Did you watch any of that Secret Levels on Amazon?
No, it popped up and I started it, but like then my dad asked me to help him bake, so I was baking with him.
Yeah, they have like a Mega Man one, and they had like a Pac-Man one that was really weird. Like they're interesting takes on everything.
Yeah.
I watched Smile, the horror movie.
The Parasite film.
Yeah, so
Smiles are contagious. Did they say that in the film?
no, they don't.
Oh, what a rip!
It's not. They don't do it.
They fucked up on the sequel though.
I haven't seen the sequel yet.
The sequel should have been Smiles, right? Smiles, just add an S to it, but they called it Smile 2. Stupid.
Have you seen? Okay.
Stupid. Not even
plan on-
Smile
do you plan on
I. It
seeing
was
the first
Smile.
one?
No, the numeric number 2.
Do you plan on seeing it at all or no?
No, I don't
Okay, so
care.
then I'm gonna spoil something for you.
Spoil for it.
So what happens is, apparently, okay, here's what I've seen is the guy who made Smile made a short film, right, with the same thing,
Yeah.
and that's how he kind of pitched the movie to Blumhouse.
Uh-huh.
So he makes the movie, and the Smile thing gets the person at the end of the movie, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this movie, the lead character is like working in like a mental health facility, and that character from the prequel, like the little short the guy had made, is the first person who comes in who has it.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I like that.
So I like that.
Yeah, it's super nice.
Now, what happens is it's kind of like it kind of takes over, but it kind of distracts you, so you can't hear things. And like you're there, she's there, and she's like, "Oh, we got to go have dinner with my sister and her husband."
Yeah.
And she goes with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's fucking A Train from.
From the boys.
From the boys, and she's there, and it's like she can't hear first. Now, they do the thing where there's like the really shitty family member, but they made it way too obvious that they made it. It's like the shitty. Like you.
Hold on, let me guess the number. I'm not gonna say mother or mother-in-law because that's too on the point. So brother.
Well, brother-in-law and sister.
Oh, so both of them.
They're both shitty.
Okay, yeah.
Mother's dead.
Ooh.
Dead mom.
Scandalous.
So they're there, and she can't pay. She's not paying attention.
Does she have a father, or is she Bruce Wayne? They don't mention him.
I don't remember. I don't think so. I think the dad's dead also. I think they're orphans.
So she is Bruce Wayne. Okay, go ahead.
And so
Orphan.
Orphan. Yeah, I said the orphans.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they're making a third orphan. I heard. Yeah.
That's so stupid.
Yeah. So then, so she's there, and her sister's like, "Are you gonna be there on Saturday?" And she's like, "Where?" She's like, "To your nephew's birthday party." And she's like, "Oh, well, I work in the medical field, so I have to work weekends sometimes."
Yeah.
Because care doesn't stop.
Yeah.
The care doesn't take the weekends off.
Care doesn't stop
Now,
at 5 p.m.
You have to figure if they're that close, and she should
be aware
been
of
doing
this
this for a while. If she's having like one-on-one, like she's been doing this for a bit. Like this isn't a new career.
This is not the first Saturday she's missing.
Yeah, and so she's all like, "You can't just take the day off," and like gets all shitty about it, right? So then. The thing happens.
Is she just really a nice person, and you just heard that, and then just
No, you gotta watch this shitty family member takes the fucking shitty family member cake, bud.
Yeah.
So then the weird things start happening with the Smile thing, and like the ghost thing that's following her it's starting to like become more apparent. So she gets like a week off because something happens, right?
Yeah.
And her boss is Kumar from Harold and Kumar. He's the boss.
And so,
Well, how is he as an actor? I want him
He's fine.
to. I want him to be really good.
He's fine.
But I feel like he gets like dorky roles.
No, he's fine. I mean, he's her manager, so like, yeah.
I really want I want to see him in something different, like something.
He was
bold.
one of the henchmen in that Superman movie.
I know, but he plays like the same kind of whatever.
No, he
Indian.
doesn't. He's all serious and like stabby. He's fucking stabs Superman. With
I need him to have a bolder role.
He fucking shivs Superman with a fucking kryptonite.
I remember that, but
and like breaks it off in his fucking
Yeah, that was pretty legit. Yeah, that's pretty dope.
So she's off for like a week. So then it's like, oh, I can go to my fucking nephew's birthday party.
Yeah.
Right. So, she's having things, and she has a cat, and all these weird things are happening to her, and she's like blacking out and waking up and weird, like in her house in like different places and stuff.
Yeah.
So then she goes to the party, and she's like sketchy because of all the shit that's happening. And then it's time to open up the presents.
She forgot her present.
No. She brings a present, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I brought this." And then they open it up, and the kid's like, "What the fuck is this?"
A Ouija board.
No, it's the dead cat. And like the sister's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then she's just like, "It's not me. I don't know how it happened." And I was like, "Oh, this is great. Like, you should watch out. You should watch it for how laughably bad it is."
Okay.
And then there was like a good 20 minutes that they didn't need in that movie. It eventually, when it gets past all the laughably bad parts, it's very much like an analogy on like anxiety and mental health and all that.
Yeah.
And that's what it's using that as. So it's not bad in those, like, the parts that are supposed to be scary aren't. I can see how they'd be scary for somebody, but they weren't. There was more jump scares for me, and I can, you can, after you've watched Evil Dead a million times, you know where jump scares are.
Right.
So.
My dad watched Evil Dead.
The original?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Hold on. We are done with Smile. When did this happen?
So, it was on TV. It was like on because my dad.
What was it on?
It was Spanish. It was in Spanish.
Was it okay? Was it cut up?
It was.
Did you watch it?
It had. I didn't know. I just walked in and I'm like, and I looked at it. I'm like, "What are you watching?" And he's like, "I don't know, some ghost bullshit." And I was like, "Okay." And I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, "Oh, this is Evil Dead." And my dad's like, "Yeah." It's like, he goes, "Este pendejo." Like, I started reading the book, and then like,
yeah. I'm aware, Dad.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me the movie.
And then I told my dad, like, "Hey, like, did you get to the part with like the bruja, the witch with the pencil?" My dad's like, So like, yeah. So I don't know if he finished it or not, but I hope he watched Evil Dead 2. I didn't even see which one it was, but I was hoping it was 2 because that way he could see the juggling.
Why don't you just let him watch Evil Dead 2 and
because he won't watch. If I sit there and stay here watching a film, he'll get up and walk away.
You know how you work.
Actually, he's like a toddler now. He'll just get to his iPad and just start doing his own thing.
You know how they cut that movie off and how you're supposed to watch those movies essentially, right?
No, what's the order?
So you watch the movie.
This is the machete order?
It's kind of the machete order, but no, this is what they did. This is why people are always like, "Oh, is it a sequel or what the fuck is Evil Dead 2?"
Yeah.
So you're supposed to watch the movie. So when the Evil Dead goes in his mouth at the end of the movie,
yeah,
you're supposed to start Evil Dead 2 technically.
Okay.
Right in the beginning, like the first 20 minutes of the movie, when the Evil Dead goes in his mouth.
Yeah.
You're supposed to watch Evil Dead 1 to that part, and then you start Evil Dead 2 right there.
Oh, so don't finish it.
You don't watch that first 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
That first 20 minutes was there because
it was just to fill in.
They needed to fill it in before it can get to Evil Dead 2 because they didn't have the rights to the Evil Dead 1.
Oh, okay.
So you're supposed to watch it from there to there.
Okay.
And then you're supposed to watch it. I don't know how they cut it off with Army of Darkness, like where the typical like in this one it's there because when you watch the end of Evil Dead 2, they're praising him.
Yeah.
And then you get the Army of Darkness, and he's chained up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know where you have to watch.
You have to pause it.
Where the cutoff is for Evil Dead 2 to Army of Darkness. I'm assuming, in theory, you can just cut off to where he goes into the
where he goes into the vortex at the end,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and then cut right there.
Army of Darkness.
And then you just go into Army of Darkness at that point.
And then from there, you would go back and finish 2?
No, okay, no, I think you heard it wrong.
Okay.
So you watch all of Evil Dead 1.
All of it.
All of Evil Dead 1.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Done.
What's the last thing you see in Evil Dead 1? You see
The thing going in.
his mouth.
So skip 20 minutes of Evil Dead 2
And then you watch all of Evil Dead 2.
from 20 minutes after, and then...
I would say watch Evil Dead 2 till like the last like 2 or 3 minutes into the vortex.
Okay.
And then from the then from there, you cut to him in the chains. Because it doesn't, the order doesn't make sense when you watch it from here to here. That 3 minutes in there at the end.
Yeah.
Wouldn't make sense.
Okay. And then you take a break, and then you watch Ash versus the Evil Dead.
So you just watch Ash vs. Evil Dead. Like, yeah.
Dude, how great is that show? It's
you
so
finish
good.
it all finally?
I finished it all. I loved it. I'm sad because I want more.
The rumor is that they're doing a cartoon. He's like, I can't. No. It's everybody's.
Bruce Campbell needs to never stop working. I love him, and
Yeah.
especially with like, I was shocked when I saw him in that film that we saw, Escape from L.A.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I watched that clip on YouTube over and over again.
It's a good fucking clip.
It's one of my favorites.
Okay, so I read a book, or I listened to a book called House of the Last Resort.
Ooh.
I've learned I don't like haunted house books.
They are tricky. They are tricky to read. There's some great ones, and there's also some, like, just
I've not read
whatever.
it. I want to go and read Hell House, because it's by Richard Matheson.
Uh-huh.
And Richard Matheson, usually, I don't find anything wrong
You know,
with
there was a Goosebumps haunted house book that was really good.
Yeah,
it
they're
was-
all good when you're in the fucking 4th grade and you've not read horror.
I guess so. You know what? Maybe I should go back and read those.
I'm sure you can knock them out in like a fucking hour.
Oh yeah, they're pretty. Or you know what? I
used to
I
knock
was
them out
like
in
I was in
2
a
or
streak
3.
for watching the because like were you the one telling me that the Arlstein ain't making more adult books afterwards?
He's made some, but not as much. He I would love to see him do. He does some. He still makes books, and they were okay.
Because I remember reading a couple Fear Streets again, just to be like, oh, whatever.
Isn't Fear? Oh, those are Arlstein.
Yeah, and so I read those. I'm like, they're decent. They're decent now.
Was that Arlstein?
Fear Streets? Yeah.
Were they? I thought they were Christopher Pike.
Were they?
Oh, they're Arlstein. Yeah, my bad. I was okay with it. Fear Streets I liked growing up. Those ones were good.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Outsiders. I read The Outsiders. I bought that book for $5.
Yeah, you told me about that. I read some science fiction, actually.
Ooh, what'd you read?
This book called All Systems Red. It's the Murderbot books.
All Systems Red. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening to one of the other Murderbot because they're like
You know what
2
that
or 3
reminded me
hours.
of?
What?
That album that we read, the All Black Everything.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah. But yeah, so All Systems Red.
I finished the No Effects book this week.
Oh, the Bathtub.
Hepatitis Bathtub?
Yeah.
Um,
Heartbreaking, dude. Like some of the parts
I
are
want-
just like, fuck, dude, that sucks.
I want them to make another one. I want them to make a sequel book from there to like the end.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice.
Because I think it's still as crazy
Yeah.
with everything. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there's a bunch of way more shit that happened. You know, a bunch of stuff that they excluded. You know, from the book.
I don't even no. You don't even have to go back into the past. You can go,
Just go from
from
there-
there to like the end.
Yeah.
Like I hope
Seriously,
they do another one.
When I was there for the last show, the last show, dude, people were breaking down on stage. They were crying. It was super emotional. Everybody from Fat Records was up there singing along. It was really, really touching. It was a really nice send off.
I watched Sonic 3.
Ooh, Jim Carrey's not in it.
He is in it.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Fantastic.
He plays 2 roles in it.
Oh, Keanu Reeves should be in it, right?
He's Shadow.
Shadow.
But he's not like this. He's just like serious the whole time.
Okay.
He's more closer to a John. It's like he did.
He's like a John Wick.
Like a John Wick, but like more serious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you finished all those Wicks yet or no?
No, I started watching John Wick 2. I've seen 3. I've not seen 2.
You haven't seen 4 either.
I've not seen 4.
I own them all.
Yeah.
I love the John Wicks.
I told Lisa because Lisa was all like, I don't watch those John Wick movies, and I'm like, what if I told you?
There's a dog that dies.
No. What if I told you John Wick kills a man with a horse? How do you think he would do that? And she goes,
Does she ollie over the guy with the horse?
He also, and I'll show you this part too, also kills a man with a book. She's like, the book I can imagine, the horse I don't know. Well, so wait, how come you didn't finish 2 then? Because 2 has that awesome beginning where he's just like mowing people down with his car.
I saw that part. I saw him bringing his car in for the shop.
And then
the guy brings in the medallion saying, "Hey, like I need you to do this. I need you to kill my sister for me." And he's like, "But I'm out." He goes, "Are you? Okay." And then he blows up his house. I was my friend that passed away. We were at a bar and